WMAL. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
You know, we haven't been able to play these too much this year, but tonight apparently we'll all be loading up the sleigh as we head home from work. Maybe not quite when we're heading home from work. When is this snow coming and how much is it going to be? Brian Donegan is with the Weather Channel, joins us now to give us a look-see. Brian, you guys seem sort of vexed about this one. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's a tricky storm because the low pressure keeps shifting closer to the coast, and as it shifts closer to the coast, it means it's going to be warmer and less snow is actually going to fall in the D.C. metro area.
So what's it looking like right now? First of all, when should we start seeing anything falling from the sky?
The precipitation should develop, I'd say, between 6 and 9 p.m. from south to north, so the evening commute should be okay, plus temperatures are about freezing. So I don't expect any problems till after midnight. I think after midnight is when most of the snow will begin to accumulate in D.C.
Okay, and given the fact that it was relatively warm today, so the roads are already, on the warm side, and of course they've been pre-treated. When people wake up tomorrow morning, even if they get, what are you guys predicting now, upwards to 6 inches across the area?
In D.C., we have 3 to 5 currently, probably the lower end of that.
But then out in, say, Leesburg, Frederick, you're looking up to 8?
Yeah, there could be anywhere from 5 to 8 inches out to the northwest of I-95.
So even if that all falls, because of the conditions today and the fact that it's been relatively warm, what are we really dealing with here over the course of the next day or two?
I think roads will be slick during the morning commute for tomorrow. They may be snow-covered, especially any back roads. But since it was in the 40s today and roads have been pre-treated, it could definitely be worse. But I would still expect some slick travel during the morning commute for tomorrow. But I would expect more snow to accumulate on grassy areas and car tops and, say, on pavement.
Right. Okay, and then what about people who are traveling up the northeastern corridor? A lot of people commute or have trips that they need for business, up into New York and Boston.
Yeah, that's where the storm is really going to be the worst. There's a blizzard warning in effect for New York City, and then also a blizzard warning to the west of Boston, but not including Boston. That's where we're expecting anywhere from a foot to a foot and a half of snow during the day tomorrow.
Wow. Now, and what is the precedent for something like this? I mean, listen, I remember a couple of years ago we had a pretty big snowstorm into the second, third week of March, but that was a rough winter across the board. Isn't it strange to have such a mild winter and then just get this final little, tap on the way out the door?
Yeah, I mean, we usually get the big snowstorms in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. The first half of February is when we see them on average, for the most frequent on average. But it's not totally unprecedented to see a storm of this magnitude in the middle of March. But it's definitely rare because it's not January or February, like you said.
All right. And I mean, is it fair to say that this is sort of a one-off and there's not another storm coming up in the next couple of weeks?
I wouldn't rule out something possibly next weekend.
Come on,
moves in,
Brian.
But it might be too warm for much in the way of snow, but possibly to the north areas, north of Philly, north of New York City, could see some snow next weekend.
All right, and it's funny, I was driving in Virginia today, and I saw these beautiful blossoms on the tree, not cherry blossoms, but other trees are all blossoming already, and they're toast, right? They're all, I mean, this freeze that we're going to have, this
is not good. It's just going to kill them, and they're going to have to grow back.
All right. Brian Donegan, you're just the bearer of bad news. I don't mean to make you the target of it. That's all right. We'll check in with you again in an hour because these things are changing. As you said, this low pressure system, as Brian just said, moving out to the coast, changing how these things are going to happen. But we've kept you up to date. Keep it here. We're going to keep finding out what your local municipalities are planning for your roads and what God has in store for your weather overnight.
Traffic and weather, the day's top stories, and you. This is the Larry O'Connor Show.
Joining us right now is Brian Donegan. He's with the Weather Channel, and this is what you live for, Brian. This is
exactly.
We got the snowstorm coming in. Let's focus right here in the Washington metro area. What does it look like right now in terms of when precipitation will begin falling?
Well, it already has begun falling south of D.C. There's currently snow being reported in Stafford and snow mixing in with the rain in Fredericksburg, so it's only a couple hours away from D.C. So between now and 9 o'clock, it'll gradually arrive from south to north in the D.C. metro area. And then it looks like we'll get 1 to 3 inches in D.C. overnight, but then it's going to change over to sleet and possibly even some rain, so that'll cut down on the totals in the D.C. metro area.
Now, I've been hearing and reading our Weather Channel forecast for the last 3 hours, and right now the overnight low at Reagan National is 32 degrees. And, last time my 8th grade science class taught me that's like right at the freezing point. So
that's right.
If we can extrapolate that from Reagan National out, like a target out into the giant listenership that goes all the way to West Virginia and Frederick and all that, what are we looking at outside of the district?
Well, outside of D.C., to the north and west, there's going to be a lot more in the way of snowfall. We're forecasting snowfall totals north and west of D.C. up to 8 to 12 inches, but in D.C. itself, probably somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay, and because of the relatively warm temperatures, and what's the high for tomorrow? I think we were talking about 43 tomorrow?
Yeah, it should be in the low 40s by tomorrow afternoon.
So how quickly does this thing dissipate?
Well, there'll still be some snow falling during the morning commute, and then maybe an inch or two falls, say between 6 and 9 o'clock in the morning. But then it ends pretty quickly. By noon, it should be tapering off. Just a few lingering snow showers by tomorrow afternoon. And then with temperatures rising above freezing, conditions should improve pretty quickly.
So let's talk about that snowfall during the morning commute tomorrow, though. I mean, I know it's impossible to predict, or maybe it's not impossible to predict. What kind of snow might we be looking at around the time that people are trying to get in? Are we talking about that the heavy goopy stuff, or the stuff that blows? I mean, I understand the winds are going to kick in, and that makes for horrible visibility as people are driving.
It's going to be windy, so there will be low visibility from blowing and drifting snow, but I would say there's going to be a steady light to moderate snow falling by the morning commute.
Okay, by the morning commute. But again, we're already going to have several hours of snow already have fallen and accumulated by then.
Exactly. We're going to get probably 1 to 3 after midnight. Then it changes over to a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and even some plain rain. And then it goes back to snow in time for the commute. So you could get another inch or two by commute time, say from 6 to 9 a.m., another inch or two could fall. And then it gradually tapers off late morning into the early afternoon.
And you guys are still sort of using I-95 as your line of demarcation there in terms of snow versus rain, at least here in the Washington area. At what point, what's the north and south divide?
I would say north and west of I-95 is where you're going to see the higher totals, upwards of 8 to 12 inches. In D.C. itself, probably somewhere between 3 and 5. And then south and east of D.C., as you get closer to the shore, probably mostly rain, but still maybe 2 to 4 inches, maybe 2 to 4 inch of
Gotcha.
Of accumulation south and east of D.C.
All right. And then meanwhile, just for those who do need to commute up to New York or Boston or Philly or up the Northeast Corridor tomorrow, or if they've got family there, how bad is it going to get north of us?
There's blizzard warnings in effect from New York City up into much of New England. Currently 8 states under blizzard warnings. That's where they're going to see anywhere from 1 foot to 1.5 feet of snow with gusty winds leading to near zero visibility at times up and down the I-95 corridor up into northern New England. So a lot of airports probably going to shut down. Not going to be many flights for Tuesday.
All right. However, I have your word. You are assuring us, in fact, you're willing to lay money on it, that there will be no more snow, Brian Donegan of the Weather Channel, for the rest of this winter, right?
I wouldn't say that. There's a slight chance we could see some snow over the weekend, but the best chance is going to be north of D.C.
Oh, you're killing me, Brian. Thank you very much for joining us. What's your shift? How late do you have to watch this stuff tonight?
I'm in till 11 o'clock.
All right. But then you'll go home and just pop the popcorn and watch it on TV or out the window, right?
You got it. And Jim Cantori's up in Boston. That's where the thunder snow is going to be.
Oh, we love the thunder snow. Thank you, sir. That's the answer to that question. Cantori's in Boston. He's in Beantown. He wanted to see a Celtics game, probably. It's hard to... Listen, they may be talking about a blizzard up in Boston, but right here in Washington, it's going to be a challenge when you come into work tomorrow. It really is. And with the wind blowing and already enough snow on the ground and on the trees to create a problem, these are treacherous times. So you are going to want to focus very intently on our morning reports with Jamie Whitten and, of course, Brian Wilson and Mary Walter on Mornings on the